Hey everyone, I'm the Rev. Now this might be the last time that you see me sat in front of this Fanatec wheel and this Fanatec wheelbase, because out of my own money, my own savings account, I've made a little purchase. Now it's second hand, but I've managed to get a decent deal on a few bits and bobs. So what's it cost me? Well, it's made a hefty little dent in my savings account, and it's cost me 3 nights on the settee. If you're going to turn up at home with a load of new sim gear, tell your missus beforehand. But it has been lovely and quiet in our house the last 3 days. There's a lot to be said for the silent treatment. What have I upgraded to? Well, let's go and have a look.
So what have we got? Starting from right to left, we have the Gomez Sim Industries X29 wheel. It's a formula wheel and the paddles or the shift on them is absolutely brilliant. Then we have the SimmerCube 2 Pro with bracket, a very, very highly regarded wheelbase. We have a Precision Engineering Pro Switch panel. In the bottom left in front of the pedals, we have a Vocore touchscreen. Now I've not yet set that up as I'm waiting on another bracket. And last but by no means least, we have the Sim Grade VX Pro pedals, brake and accelerator with the Sim Magic haptic reactors attached. Absolutely brilliant. So a massive shout out to my mate Snake Poo for sorting me out. There's a sentence you never thought you'd say. All that kit's gonna take some getting used to.
So I think it's time to try and get it all upgraded. I say try because I might cock it right up. It's using software I've never used. It's using hardware I've never used. So I could be right back on the Fanatec in no time. But let's see how it goes. And well, after a lot of faffing, we're done. The sim rig is back as it should be. Wheelbase attached, pedals attached. We now have this new button box here. Don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but we'll soon find out. But in terms of changing things over, I'd love to sit here and say it was dead easy. The changeover went really smoothly and was really slick, but it didn't. I must have banged my head about 600 times on this keyboard tray. Getting the pedals onto the pedal tray, that was a faff. And in getting this bracket for the SimmerCube 2 to sit onto my wheel stand, I rounded off one of the screws, so I had to drill that out. So that was an absolute nightmare. But you know what they say, the course of true love never runs smoothly. But I'd set up the hardware, all that was left was for me to set up the software, then I could get onto the track. So let's fire up Le Mans Ultimate and see what it's like.
So what we're looking at now is my first ever laps on the SimmerCube 2 Pro and the SimGrade VX Pro pedals. This was going to be very, very new to me. I'd already gone into the settings, I'd set up all the buttons where I needed them to be, and luckily that was really, really simple on the Gomez Sim Industries X29 wheel. I had to start using SimHub, which is a software that I'd never used before, so I had to get my head around that as well, but luckily setting it up was relatively straightforward. I am a self-confessed geek, so I find that kind of stuff relatively easy, and I can find my way around computer programs normally. As you can see from my face, I thought it was pretty good. I was very impressed so far. The feedback coming from the SimmerCube 2 Pro, that was great. Couldn't argue with that whatsoever. The wheel felt good in my hands, but it was the pedals that I was going to have to get used to the most. They felt very, very different from the Fanatec pedals. The throttle itself, that's very different. It's a much longer pedal. That's going to give me more fine control over the throttle itself. But the brake, that's incredibly different. It's really hard, which I like. It's a 200 kilogram load cell pedal. Setting that up as well was really easy using the SimGrade VX Pro software. And I also had the haptics now, the Sim Magic haptics. I'd never had that before. So on the brake, for example, if I activated the ABS, which this car hasn't got, so I won't be doing that here, but if I did activate the ABS, the pedal would shake and I'd get that haptic feedback, which I'd never had before. And on the throttle, I had haptics as well, so if I was sliding around, I'd feel that in the pedal. So it was all very new. In order to test out all this new stuff, I jumped into this online practice session on Le Mans Ultimate, as the reason being, this is the last track, the last car, the last session that I'd done on my Fanatec hardware, so I knew exactly how it felt and I knew what the lap time was. On my Fanatec hardware, I knew that I'd done a 1:40.9, so I had the benchmark. I needed to see how slow I was compared to the Fanatec hardware on the new hardware. There was obviously going to be a bedding in period. As you could see from that little excursion at turn 1, I was having to get used to the brake more than anything. However, on lap 3, I managed a 1 minute 41.287, so I knew that that was roughly in the ballpark of what I was managing on the Fanatec hardware, so I was quite impressed really with that. As you're about to see, it wasn't only the brake pedal that I had to get used to. I was also going to have to get used to the throttle. A little bit too eager there, and round she goes. However, knowing that I didn't have much time before I took my mum to the hospital, I kept on plugging away, and this lap I was up in the final sector. I was getting more used to that throttle, and we managed to cross the line to take that lap time down to a 1 minute 40.772. So in 10 laps I was faster on the SimUcube 2 Pro and the SimGrade VX Pro pedals than I was on the Fanatec hardware. I was already faster. I'd say that I was finding the vast majority of that time on the brake. This brake pedal is absolutely brilliant. I cannot fault it. But I wasn't going to stop there because I knew that this was the only session I was really going to be able to put in this day. So we continued to try and improve, and as I say, getting more used to the throttle, more used to the brake, and I had took a tiny bit of time off to get that lap time down to a 1 minute 40.600. But here now, on lap 19, this was my fastest lap ever round Monza in an LMP2 car. I was just gaining more and more confidence on the brakes all the time. As we head down now, looking for the 100 metre balls through the Rozier, late on the brakes, get it turned in not too bad, early on the power, and we're now up into sector 2. We head down into the Lesmores, Lesmore 1, try and hook it up, get on the power, manage some decent traction. That green split's going up all the time, which is great to see. Not the greatest Lesmore 2, but it's still up. And if I could just keep this split where it was, I'd be looking at probably at a 1 minute 40.4, which I would absolutely have killed for on the Fanatec hardware. Late on the brakes again, into the Variante Ascari, decent traction on the way out, the rear's hooked up really well. There was a fantastic feeling through the SimUcube 2 Pro there, really good. And at 3/10 up, and it's still rising, I just had to not cock up the parabolica. I was able to brake much later now on this pedal, almost bang on the 50 metre board, down to third, tuck it in. I've just managed to miss the apex, which is going to cost me as I apply the throttle. But the split time was still up 3/10. What was the lap time going to be? 1 minute 40.293. I couldn't get anywhere near that on the Fanatec hardware, and I think I was making all that time up on the brake.
So I was really happy with that time, and I was really happy with my first session on the new kit. And I will come back with reviews on every piece of hardware here. However, I just wanted to give you a quick look so that you had some kind of idea as to what it was like. Overall, I was really impressed, and I'm looking forward to spending more time in it. However, there is something even more important that I want to talk about in this video than the new kit, and it refers to the old kit. Now I'm going to list all that kit on the screen, all my Fanatec kit. Now, when I bought this new stuff, my original intention was obviously to sell the Fanatec kit and to recoup some of what I've already paid. However, the reason that I started this channel was because my mum had cancer and I wanted something to focus on. Life can throw loads of rubbish at you and it can absolutely suck. So what I'd like to do is give away my Fanatec kit. I'd like to give it to somebody that's had a really garbage time, either themselves or maybe a family member of theirs that's had a rubbish time for whatever reason. Doesn't have to be cancer. It can be just something where life gets you down and makes you feel like crap. And I'd like to hand all that gear off to somebody else so that they can enjoy it. I'd like that ideally to be somebody in the UK, as that way then I could probably deliver it, maybe even meet them, who knows. I need somebody in the community to give me an idea as to how I can do it. Obviously, there needs to be a level of validity to it because I need to make sure that somebody's not just filling me up with a cock and bull story. I would hope they wouldn't, but you never know. And I've also only got a really small community myself. So Dave Cam, James Baldwin, if you're watching or if you watch their stuff, maybe you can tell them, let them know that this is what I want to do. Can I reach out to their communities, to Dave Cam's, to Baldwin's? If there's somebody out there where it would put a massive smile on their face to receive this Fanatec stuff, I'd like to run some kind of giveaway, but I don't know the ins and outs of how that could work or how I'm going to do it. So if anyone has any ideas how I can do this and how I can do it right and proper, then please do let me know in the comment section below or jump into the Discord and we can have a chat. And hopefully somewhere along the line, I can put a smile on somebody's face, somebody where life has made them feel like crap. So if you can help me out in any way, then I would really, really appreciate that. I will be back with more stuff on my new kit. As always, I've been the Reverend. Thank you very much for watching.